I don't care what the business is. An organization that doesn't focus on managing setup time, it takes about 4 hours to change a machine over, right? And it has almost nothing to do with, you know, the skilled labor that's doing that work. It has everything to do with the inefficient processes and the obstacles that we put in their way. And so we wanted a tool that could measure the time from good to good. And so, you know, we've gone from 4 hours down to 2 hours down to, I think there's a graphic in there. It's probably complicated to look at, but we're probably 50th percentile running around 100 minutes right now. And, you know, until we get below 30 minutes, you know, for these machines, especially screw machines, you know, they're much more difficult. Yeah. So here's a graphic. Let me explain this, you know, very quickly to you. When you look on the left, we are comparing on one axis our performance from last year, and on the opposite axis, y-axis, our performance this year. And if that dot for that machine, these are all setup times. If that dot's in that red zone, it means we are running that machine worse than we did last year in terms of how much time it takes per setup to set up that machine. If it's running in the green, it means that we've reduced the setups on that machine by more than 50%. And if you looked at this at year end last year, all of those blue dots would have been, almost all of them would have been down in that green zone. Continuous improvement means, you know, once you get to that goalpost, I want you to reduce it 50% again, right? So if we get from 100 to 50, I want to go from 50 to 25. I want to go from 25 to 12. And most people will say it is impossible to change a screw machine over in 12 minutes. And if you start with you don't know how to ride a bike, you can't ride a bike, you will never ride a bike. You first have to believe it and then use the potential of your people to help you figure out how to do it. And so you can see in the middle graph that this is plotting from where we were. You know, there's a peak up there around 210 minutes. And, you know, we dropped down below 100 minutes. We're up a little bit this year, which is a bit of a disappointment. But on the flip side, we've hired a number of additional machinists and we've been doing cross training. And so there's a root cause for why we're not at that goal objective. Do I think that will come down to the green line by mid-year? Absolutely. And then on the right-hand side, you'll see every single setup that's in MachineMetrics. We download this data directly from MachineMetrics. And that's kind of what that, you know, a lot of that data down below are just a bunch of timestamps that are coming out of MachineMetrics. But you can see on the far right, the machine I chose, that we did really well. Then we did horrible. And then we're doing really well again. And you know what one of the differences was in that? The guy who produced the performance on the left-hand side of that graph left the company. And we didn't standardize the work. And so now what we've done is we standardize the work. And so you can see on the right-hand side that we have extremely good, stable performance, you know, from setup to setup to setup on that machine.